The calmest person in the room is never the weakest. In fact, they are often the most dangerous, not because they want to harm anyone, but because they see what others are too distracted to notice. Marcus Aurelius once ruled an empire drowning in chaos, betrayal from within, war at the borders, and a plague that wiped out millions. Yet while the world burned, his mind remained still. Most people believe calm means nothing is wrong, but the Stoics understood something deeper. Calm is not ignorance. Calm is awareness without panic. When everyone else reacts calm, people observe. They notice shifts in tone before words explode. They sense intention before actions reveal themselves. They recognize patterns long before consequences arrive. So what did calm people like him notice immediately that most people completely miss? Part 1. The illusion. Most people most people are chasing calm, but they are chasing it in the wrong direction. They believe calm comes after problems are solved, after the argument ends, after the pressure disappears, after life finally becomes quiet. The Stoics knew the opposite. Calm is not the absence of chaos. Calm is clarity inside chaos. Pause here for a moment. Take a slow breath with me. Inhale, exhale. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire surrounded by disorder, betrayal from trusted allies, war pressing against every border, a deadly plague spreading through the Roman world. Yet instead of writing about panic, he wrote about discipline. Instead of reacting to fear, he trained his perception. He reminded himself, today I shall meet interference, ingratitude, arrogance, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. And still he chose calm. Why? Because most people do not suffer from events themselves. They suffer from the meaning they assign to those events. Modern research confirms this. More than 90% of what people worry about never actually happens. Yet stress-related conditions account for nearly 70% of medical visits worldwide. That contradiction reveals the illusion most people live in. When emotions spike, most people fall into the same three traps. First, they defend their ego. They react not to reality, but to the feeling of being threatened. Their priority becomes winning, not understanding. Second, they react to tone, not truth. A harsh voice feels like an attack, even when the message is accurate. A calm lie feels comforting, even when it leads them astray. Third, they fight symptoms instead of causes. They argue over words while ignoring motives. They attack people instead of examining patterns. Take another breath. Say it quietly to yourself. Calm is not weakness. Calm is precision. Calm people do not rush to respond. They do not confuse urgency with importance. They do not mistake noise for meaning. Instead, they create space. And inside that space, something powerful happens. Clarity begins to form. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most people never slow down long enough to realize this. They live in constant reaction mode, mistaking movement for progress. Calm people step out of that illusion. They understand that emotional control is not suppression. It is awareness without panic. It is the ability to stand still while everything else rushes past. This is the foundation. Because once you break the illusion that calm comes after chaos, you unlock something rare. You begin to notice what others miss. And in the next part, we will explore the first thing calm people notice immediately, something so subtle, yet so powerful, that it gives them an advantage in every conversation, every conflict, and every room they enter. Part 2, what calm people notice first. Most people listen to words. Calm people listen to patterns. That single difference explains why some people are constantly surprised by life, while others seem to anticipate what's coming long before it happens. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." Pause here for a second. Say it with me slowly. Words change. Patterns repeat. Most people miss this because they are overwhelmed by noise. They focus on what was said, how loud it was said, and how it made them feel. Calm people focus on what is consistent, and consistency never lies. Psychology shows that under emotional pressure, human behavior becomes highly predictable. Studies in behavioral science suggest that more than 80% of reactions under stress follow repeated patterns. Same trigger, same response, same justification. Yet most people treat every emotional episode as if it were new. Calm people don't. They instantly separate two things: what is actually happening and how people feel about what is happening. This separation is power. Think about conflict. Two people can experience the exact same event. One becomes defensive, the other becomes curious. One explodes, the other observes. The difference is not intelligence, it is perception. Reset with me. Inhale, exhale. Calm people notice repeated behaviors. They notice predictable emotional reactions. They notice cycles that others confuse for coincidence. A person who always plays the victim under pressure. That's a pattern. A leader who avoids responsibility when things go wrong. That's a pattern. A relationship that replays the same argument every few weeks, only with different words. That's not bad luck. That's a loop. Most people argue inside the loop. Calm people step outside it. Here is where the advantage becomes unfair. When you see patterns, you stop taking things personally. You realize that what feels like an attack is often just someone repeating an old script. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of this truth when he wrote, "When someone irritates, you know that it is your own judgment that irritates you." Say it with me. It's not personal, it's predictable. This awareness removes emotional charge. And without emotional charge, clarity enters. Now here's a short practical exercise. Think of one situation that frustrates you regularly. It could be at work, in your family, or in a relationship. Ask yourself one question only. What always happens right before this goes wrong? Not what was said, not how it felt. What pattern appeared? Write it down. That single step moves you from reaction to observation. But calm people don't stop there. They don't just notice patterns in others. They notice something even more important. They notice their own reaction first. Most people become aware only after damage is done, after the angry message is sent, after the argument escalates, after regret appears. Calm people notice earlier. They notice the tightness forming in the chest, the breath becoming shallow, the subtle rise of the ego demanding defense. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is not philosophy. This is neuroscience. Emotional impulses last about 90 seconds if they are not reinforced by thought. Most people fuel them for hours, sometimes days. Calm people pause. Say this quietly with intention. This is an internal event. That sentence creates space, space between stimulus and response. And in that space, freedom exists. Reset moment. Inhale, exhale. Now comes the third thing calm people notice immediately. They notice what can be controlled instantly, while others waste energy asking, "Why is this happening?" or "Who is to blame?" Calm people ask one grounded question: what is mine to handle right now? Action replaces anxiety. Here's a classic Stoic exercise. Take a piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle. On the left, right, outside my control. On the right, right, inside my control. Be honest. Now read the left side once and let it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because it doesn't belong to you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Calm people conserve energy. They act where action is possible. They release what is not theirs to carry. This is why calm people appear composed under pressure. They are not suppressing emotion, they are directing attention. And this is why most people miss what calm people see. Because noticing patterns, reactions, and control requires stillness, and stillness feels uncomfortable. Most people prefer noise, distraction, constant stimulation. Calm people choose awareness. And in the next part, we will confront the deeper reason why stillness is so difficult, why silence exposes uncomfortable truths, and why most people would rather stay distracted than become aware. That is where the real challenge begins. Part 3, why most people miss. Most people miss what calm people notice for one simple reason, because noticing requires stillness, and stillness feels uncomfortable. Pause here. Take one slow breath with me. Inhale, exhale. The modern world is designed to keep you distracted. Notifications, noise, constant stimulation, and distraction feels safe, because silence does something most people try to avoid. Silence exposes what you've been running from. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. That's why he wrote to himself, not to an audience. He knew that when the noise fades, the truth gets louder. He wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Most people never enter that retreat. Why? Because stillness reveals three uncomfortable things. First, stillness exposes weak habits. When the noise stops, you notice how often you react without thinking, how easily your mood depends on external approval, how quickly frustration turns into blame. According to behavioral studies, over 95% of daily decisions are made unconsciously. Most people are not living intentionally. They are repeating patterns on autopilot. Noise keeps that hidden. Stillness makes it visible. Reset moment, say it with me. Awareness comes before change. Second, stillness exposes unexamined beliefs. Beliefs like I must respond immediately. I can't be disrespected. I need to be right. I need control. These beliefs run quietly in the background, shaping reactions. Marcus Aurelius warned himself about this when he wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Most people never question their estimates. They mistake beliefs for facts. Calm people don't. They slow down enough to ask, is this belief serving me or controlling me? That question alone dissolves many emotional reactions. Take a breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Third, and this is the hardest part, stillness exposes the fear of responsibility. When you stop blaming circumstances, when you stop blaming other people, you are left with one uncomfortable truth. You are responsible for your response, and responsibility feels heavy. It's easier to say, they made me angry. This situation ruined my day. I had no choice. But Marcus Aurelius rejected this thinking completely. He wrote, you always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul. That idea terrifies most people, because if you are responsible for your reactions, you can no longer hide behind excuses. Noise protects the ego. Stillness challenges it. That's why most people prefer distraction. Endless scrolling, background sound, constant conversation, because awareness demands courage. Calm people choose awareness anyway. They are willing to sit with discomfort long enough to understand it. They don't run from silence. They use it. Neuroscience supports this. Studies show that moments of stillness activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-control, long-term thinking, and emotional regulation. Distraction weakens it. Stillness strengthens it. That's why calm people seem grounded under pressure. They've trained the muscle most people ignore. Here's a simple Stoic practice you can try today. For just 60 seconds, do nothing. No phone, no music, no movement. Just sit. Notice what arises. Restlessness, thoughts, emotions. Don't fight them. Observe them. This is not meditation for peace. This is training for clarity. Reset moment. Say it slowly. I do not need to react to every thought. Most people never practice this, so when pressure hits, they react automatically. Calm people have rehearsed stillness. That's why they can access it when it matters most. And this brings us to the turning point of the story. Marcus Aurelius did not write his meditations during calm times. He wrote them in the middle of chaos, during war, during illness, during political pressure. He didn't escape the world. He mastered himself within it. That's why calm people see more. They are not running from reality. They are standing still inside it. And in the next part, we reach the emotional peak of this journey, the moment where Stoic philosophy stops being an idea and becomes a way of life. Part 4, Stoic Story Moment. Emotional Peak. Marcus Aurelius did not write meditations to inspire anyone. He wrote it to survive himself. Pause here. Let that sink in. This was not a book meant for the public. No audience, no applause, no legacy in mind. Just a man alone with his thoughts trying not to lose himself in the middle of chaos. War surrounded him. Political pressure never stopped. Friends betrayed him. Disease ravaged his empire. And yet instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Marcus Aurelius asked a different question. How must I respond so that I remain whole? That question is the turning point. Most people try to control the world. He chose to master his inner one. Reset with me. Inhale, exhale. Imagine the weight he carried. Millions of lives depended on his decisions. Every mistake echoed across an empire. And still he wrote reminders like this to himself: do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live while it is in your power, be good. That is not fear. That is clarity. Marcus Aurelius understood something most people never realize. Calm is not passive. Calm is disciplined attention. When chaos demands reaction, calm demands reflection. When pressure screams for urgency, calm whispers for precision. This is why calm people see more. They are not blinded by fear. They are not rushed by emotion. They are present, and presence is rare. Psychological studies show that under high-stress decision-making accuracy drops by up to 40%. Most people under pressure make worse choices faster. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to slow down. He wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it." This was not comfort. This was responsibility. Because once you accept that judgment creates suffering, you can no longer blame the world. You must look inward. Most people avoid this moment. It feels heavy. It feels lonely. But this is where calm is forged, not in silence alone, but in honest self-examination. Marcus Aurelius did not escape the world. He did not retreat into isolation. He did not numb himself with distraction. He stayed, he ruled, he decided, he endured. And he reminded himself again and again, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Say this with me slowly. Urgency clarifies what matters. Calm people live with this awareness. That's why they don't panic over small insults. That's why they don't chase validation. That's why they don't react impulsively. They know time is limited, so they don't waste energy on noise. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Calm people are not calm because life is easy. They are calm because they have accepted reality without illusion. They don't demand that the world be fair. They don't expect people to behave perfectly. They don't cling to outcomes they can't control. They accept, and then they act. This is why calm appears powerful, because it is grounded. Most people react emotionally and hope for control. Calm people accept reality and gain influence. Reset moment. Inhale, exhale. Marcus Aurelius understood that leadership, whether of an empire or of oneself, begins internally. Before you speak, govern your mind. Before you act, examine your intention. Before you judge, observe. That is why his calm was not weakness. It was strength under discipline. And this brings us to the final realization. Calm people do not see more because they are smarter. They see more because they are not running. They stay present when others escape. They stay still when others react. They stay aware when others distract themselves. And that is why calm becomes power. In the final part, we will distill everything you've heard into a clear, practical truth: what calm really is, how it can be trained, and how you can begin applying it immediately in your own life. That is where this journey leads. Part 5, final takeaway. Calm is not personality. Calm is not luck. And calm is not something you are born with. Calm is trained perception. Say that with me slowly, clearly. Calm is trained perception. Most people believe calm people are different on the inside. In reality, they are different in what they notice first. While others notice insults, calm people notice their breath. While others notice pressure, calm people notice patterns. While others notice chaos, calm people notice what can be controlled. That is the difference. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than most. That's why he reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Your estimate, your perception. That's where everything begins. Take a breath with me. Inhale, exhale. When you slow your reaction, 3 things happen. First, you see intentions before words. You stop reacting to surface-level noise and start recognizing motives. You realize that most behavior is not personal, it is habitual. Second, you predict outcomes before they arrive. Because patterns repeat, emotions follow scripts. And once you see the script, the ending is no longer a surprise. Third, you choose responses instead of regrets. You speak with intention. You act with restraint. You leave situations without wishing you had said less. That is real power. Modern research supports this. Studies show that people who pause before reacting are up to 50% more accurate in decision-making under stress. Not because they are smarter, but because they are calmer. Calm sharpens judgment. Now here is the most important takeaway of all. Calm does not mean you feel nothing. It means you are not ruled by what you feel. Marcus Aurelius never tried to eliminate emotion. He trained himself not to obey it blindly. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, not your circumstances, not other people, your thoughts. And thoughts can be trained." Here is a simple daily practice you can start today. At least once a day, pause for 60 seconds. No phone, no input, no distraction. Ask yourself 3 questions. What am I reacting to right now? What story am I telling myself about it? What part of this is actually under my control? That is Stoic training in its simplest form. Over time, this practice changes how you move through the world. You become less reactive, more grounded, more precise. People will notice. They may not understand why you feel different, but they will feel it, because calm is contagious. And remember this: the calmest person in the room is not the quietest, not the slowest, not the weakest. They are the one who sees clearly while others are overwhelmed. They are the one who remains steady while others rush. They are the one who chooses wisely while others react emotionally. That is why calm people notice what most people miss, because they are present. Before we end, let me leave you with one final reminder from Marcus Aurelius Waste. No more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Calm is not something you talk about, it is something you practice. If this gave you clarity, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, if calm is something you're building. Subscribe to the channel, Making Life Better, for weekly Stoic wisdom. Share this with someone who reacts too fast. And here's one last thing. Comment just one word below. Comment the word calm, not for me, for yourself. Because every time you choose calm over reaction, you take back control. And remember, the world is loud, but clarity belongs to the calm.